Welcome to the Let's Talk Basic podcast, where girls talk about everything basic.
Join us as we sit down with a glass of wine and see where the conversation goes.
Kick back,
relax,
and get ready for the ultimate girls' night in.
I'm your host, Joanne.
And I'm Vanessa.
Okay, welcome back to this week's Let's Talk Basic podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.
Whew. I need a deep drink today.
Okay.
Today, we're talking about jealousy. The feelings of jealousy, bringing out the worst of us, seeing it with other people, dealing with it in relationships, all of that.
It's kind of a scary topic, I think.
I feel embarrassed already.
Yeah. It's like this emotion that becomes like kind of like a monster over your head, and you kind of turn into somebody that you really hate, and like you said, kind of embarrassed to be like, I can't believe that there's this side of me coming out.
Okay. So have you, I guess, like experienced jealousy in your life? I feel like obviously
everyone has.
Like,
if you say no, you're lying.
Yeah.
I think I can draw on one, I guess more recent experience, and it's from a relationship standpoint. And it was honestly just straight out of selfishness, I feel. So I believe that you guys have probably listened to one of our topics before, one of our episodes before, where we talk about long distance relationship. And so when my partner was offered this job in New York for 7 months, like there was two kind of emotions, like, wow, like what an amazing opportunity. And then the second was like, what about me?
Yeah.
Was kind of like quickly following that, like really exciting, kind of really happy for him. What a great opportunity. But there's always this side of you that sometimes can overtake your emotions and like turn you into a person that you really don't want to become. And it's really, jealousy is basically, I think, just a part of us that's really selfish and really thinking about just herself and not the person that is in that position. So immediately when he was like, oh, he's going to New York, it's going to be so much fun, like a guy out in New York City in his like 20s, having money to do whatever he wanted to do, living right in the center of Manhattan, having all these great restaurants and bars within his, like in his access. Like he has access to kind of every exciting opportunity, and like kind of listening to all his plans about meeting new people and having friends that are coming over to visit him and his family coming over to visit him. I did get a little bit jealous. Right? But it's more like jealousy because of experiences that I can't be there to experience with him. So that's kind of where it came from. And it wasn't about not trusting him in a new city, because I think at that point, my mentality was like, hey, if you were going to cheat on me, then you would have done it already. Like you being in another city has no play or no part in that. It was more jealousy of missing out on the experiences that he has and all these growth opportunities that he has.
Right. So what does it look like?
I think it was a little bit sad at first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he went and he left, and I was by myself in Toronto, essentially, right? And thinking about and listening and wanting to be happy for him, but then at the same time feeling a little bit sad for myself.
Yeah.
Right. But I think over time it got better as he tried to involve me more in within those experiences. And I think those, feelings of jealousy kind of dissipated once I, was able to, go to New York and experience those same experience that he was experiencing. And I think it's all about the fear of missing out.
Yeah. I totally get that with like the long distance. I was actually looking at some of my old like journal. I do mine online, so journal posts. And there was this post when we were doing a long distance relationship, and I was like, I feel so jealous because he's making new friends.
Yeah.
And he has this new life without me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was such a this artistic moment in my life where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna listen to sad songs and write poetry.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's so immature. It's so silly.
Once you go back, like you said, going back to those journal entries, you read the entry and you're like, who the heck was this person? Sometimes you don't recognize, that stuff, and but I think it's a good sign, which means we got over it.
Yeah.
Right, and we were able to hopefully grow through those experiences and not feel that way anymore.
I do remember, when I was younger, though, in my early 20s, I had an awful streak of jealousy. And it was, really disgusting. Now when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, what kind of person was I?
Yeah. Was it jealousy? Was it also in a romantic relationship?
Yeah.
Or was it more so,
I think it was
friends?
everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel I was just oh my gosh, if I like something in my life, you can never, you're mine. It's that, possessiveness.
Yeah.
Where it's oh, you're my best friend. You're my boyfriend. You should cater to me.
Gosh.
And honestly, some of the conversations that I had would be so demanding to the point where it's where is this coming from? And why do you think this is okay?
Yeah. Or things if your best friend made a new friend in high school or university.
That was such a big thing.
That was oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, it was heartbreaking too when that would happen. Oh my gosh, I'm the most worthless person in the world.
No, but when they make a new friend, I feel the jealousy comes in where I'm no, I'm gonna go show this person I'm actually their best friend.
Yeah.
There's kind of this
you go to
thing.
a birthday party and the new best friend is
you're
there.
I'm going to plan everything.
Yeah.
And you're just invited.
Or you're oh, I got the better present or something like that.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so many weird things
that. It is weird, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is that a weird thing when you feel jealous of your best friend getting new friends?
I don't think so. I think before it definitely was when I said during high school, university, those are definitely times where I would feel insecure about our friendship and kind of either make comments or try to
upstage.
Yeah,
is that what you're trying to say?
Word, yeah. Where I'm, trying to upstage this new friend of hers.
Yeah.
There's definitely moments like that, but I don't feel that way anymore. I feel, I think a good example is that actually my boyfriend and my best friend left me in the same year to go away, long distance. I would say that in those situations, I was more jealous about my boyfriend's experience than I was my best friend because I was actually really excited for her.
Yeah. You should be as a mature human being. Gosh, why can't we all do that?
Yeah. I think I think I've gotten a lot better with dealing with jealousy.
Yeah.
Just because we're older now. We're more mature. We actually know it's not just about me. It's because that's where I feel jealousy comes. Right? It's you're always just thinking about yourself, and it's a very selfish type of feeling and behavior, I think. Mm-hmm. But hey, it happens.
Yeah.
Right? And do you have any moments where you're I need to check myself because I feel this way? I remember times when my friends got into relationships, actually, and I would be a little jealous. Right? I think jealous on two different kind of occasions. One, that's time away from me. I have one less person to hang out with and one less person to do everything with is my initial thought. No, that's extremely selfish. And then the second thought is that, oh, now she's in a relationship. Now I want a relationship. So there's kind of two things when my friend gets into relationships when I was younger that I definitely felt jealous about.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever felt jealous because they had a relationship and I didn't. Because I was like, boys are gross anyways.
Yeah.
But I think the friendship one really hits home because, like, when all their time goes somewhere else, you're kind of like, well, what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially if it's a best friend and you're like, that's who you spent a lot of your time with.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, especially when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, like, you did everything together.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you slept over at each other's house. You went to Wonderland together. You went to, the gas station to get slushies together. And then you went to the mall. You went to the movies. Now she's like, oh, I actually can't watch that movie with you because I'm watching it with Brad. Like, who the heck is Brad?
Yeah.
He just came into the picture.
Yeah.
He doesn't get that. He doesn't get to watch that movie with you. Like, so those are kind of the things that I would be like, what was the quote when you were younger? Like, fries before guys or something. Yeah.
I think it's funny because it sounds like such an immature thing when you're like, oh, like when your friend gets a boyfriend. But I feel like even in like our adult life, it still comes through sometimes. Like when a friend gets a boyfriend and they like, and it might not be jealousy, but like when they bring the guy out all the time and you're like, okay, like I just need a break. Like I just want to hang out with you.
One-on-one time.
Yeah. I just want one-on-one time with you. And it's like that awkward thing where it's like, okay, like
there's three of us
all the time. This is cool, but like not great. So I guess that's like a mature version of jealousy where it's just like, oh, like
I don't even, that's totally not jealousy. That's just like, oh, you're so annoying. Why do you always have to bring this person?
Yeah, that might actually be more right. You know where jealousy really comes into play though?
No, what?
Is when you're picking bridesmaids. Suddenly everything comes into the table and you're like, oh no, I'm mature. Jealousy doesn't impact me anymore. Just kidding.
Gosh, you're totally right. That's like literally adult jealousy. Yeah. Like literally. Okay, I need to learn more. Please tell me.
Oh my gosh, I'm not an expert on this.
Well, I've never had bridesmaids. So where do you think that, okay, so obviously I agree. I see where you're going with this, but can you give me more concrete examples, maybe?
I feel like as you get older, the jealousy takes a different form. It's not as like outright. It's not as like catty as it used to be. Girls are catty sometimes. But I think it's more like there's more watching of what you do. And there's judgment behind it, but it's more quiet. It's more held in. It's a little bit more reserved.
Until it gets to the breaking point.
Hopefully there isn't a breaking point. Hopefully he doesn't get to that.
Yeah.
But like, there's definitely things. I feel like girls keep tabs, right?
Oh gosh.
Where it's like, okay, you've done this.
I do agree with that.
Yeah. Like you've done this. Like you've slighted me in this way with another friend. I'm gonna hold that against you. Not hold it against you like evilly, but just kind of like, okay, I have acknowledged it. And then it kind of like harbors. And then later, like a year later, you get in a fight and it all comes out and you're like, well, what? I feel like that's kind of what adult jealousy looks like now.
Yeah, I agree. I think another good example is, like, I think it still happens. So we made that example about friends who, you get new friends and you're like, oh, spending too much time with this person. I actually think that it still happens for adults.
What do you mean?
So if your friend notices that you're hanging out with another person a little bit more, like you said, it's not as catty as when you were younger, but it comes out in certain conversations.
Like how?
It's like, oh, have you been hanging out with this person lately?
Oh, yeah. That's catty, man. That's direct.
But like, you know the tone.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, it seems like you and this person have been hanging out a lot. How many times do you guys see each other? Like, it's so catty. It's just not as like, it's just not as, I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you say it? Like, it's less immature.
It's a little bit more reserved, right? Yeah. Like it's a little bit more.
It's the adult version.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one. When you are all hanging out and one person can't make it because they're busy or whatever. But it's like, oh, this person's not hanging out with us because she's too busy
hanging out with other people,
all her other friends.
Yeah.
Or her boyfriend's friends, or her family, or, you know, whatever, whoever, and then kind of projecting
I think it's
it
a little
them.
bit of jealousy, and then also scrutinizing that person for not making them a priority.
Yeah, but isn't that what jealousy is still? Like, it's, you should be here with me.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
Adult jealousy is still very prevalent. This is not a childhood thing. Abort.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And then there's like things like, oh, this gets even more adult, like who to invite to your birthday party, or your 30th birthday party. Who do you invite to your housewarming? Like all these things that are I don't know, closer, like you want to make more intimate and everything, and then people get left out or don't get an invitation. I feel like they're always slightly, they won't say it out straight up, saying that, oh, I didn't really get an invite, but I feel like there's definitely feelings towards that. And like you said, like we said, like it definitely comes out in later conversations in a less direct way. Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
It's human nature, I think. Yeah. I don't know if we can ever get rid of it. I don't know if there's right or wrong. Like, I think it's human nature to feel like, to feel those emotions, right? But I think that as we get older, we give less and less shits.
Yeah, it's true too. It's right? Like, so, well, whatever, feel the way. I don't care. So
like the things that really, really used to trigger you and like kind of like turns you into a monster becomes less and less, you know, crazy and less relevant to you and less of a priority. And then as you get older, I feel like those emotions kind of scale down one notch to another notch to another notch to the point where you're like, I actually am so thankful that I did not get invited to your housewarming because I don't want to get you another present.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what? Where did we just go with that?
No, I'm just saying, like, I think it's like at the beginning, oh, like, I'm so sad or I'm so upset that this person didn't invite me to this wedding.
Yeah.
And after being invited to like 16 weddings, it gets less, you know, the first couple of weddings that your friends have are always kind of like more special. Mm-hmm. Right? Because, oh my God, like your first friend that is in your friend group is getting married. And then maybe for the first couple of those weddings, you don't get invited to some of them. Mm-hmm. Right? And you're like, oh, man.
You feel hugely slighted.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of impact.
Yeah. They're like, oh, darn. Like, I really thought that him and I or her and I were more close.
Yeah.
But you know what? That sucks.
Yeah.
Right? And then you move on and then you start getting more and more wedding invitations as you move towards your mid-20s, to your later 20s, to your 30s. Like, you get invited to more and more weddings as your friends, get hitched and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then I think by like the 15th wedding, you're like, I am so done with all of this.
Yeah.
Right? That you're like, I actually am not, I'm not offended that I wasn't invited to yours.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think like with every situation, the jealousy kind of gets like de-escalated. Right? The emotions get de-escalated as you get maybe more sensitized to those situations.
Maybe it just keeps happening to you.
You're like, I don't give an F anymore.
I haven't been invited to 16 weddings now. I don't feel anything.
Yeah. What?
I hate you all.
People are still getting married? What? I haven't been to one in years. The last one I was at was my own.
Yeah. Maybe that is what it is. We're just desensitized completely.
Yeah, like, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like, I don't know, this is just my version of what jealousy means and what it looks like and, like, how I'm going to put, like, kind of a meaning behind this. It's just like when you were younger, everything is so heightened. Mm-hmm. Right? Everything's so dramatic. I hate this person. This person, like, really screwed me over. And then as you get older, you just get more chill. Because you're like...
So are you saying your friends who have expressed jealousy to you as an adult because they haven't had enough life experiences?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Oh,
It's also,
I was not expecting that. I thought it was going to be something funny.
No, it's like more EQ, right? You learn how to control your emotions.
Yes.
Right? And everything gets less dramatic once you've experienced more of life. Because you are able to put things, hopefully, into perspective. Because not getting invited to a wedding is not as important as maybe another thing. Like, I don't know. These are just some examples as to, I'm trying to reason as to why these jealousy issues are not as important now compared to when we were younger.
Right.
That's my view on it.
What about when you feel jealous towards your friends? Like, have you ever felt that?
Oh, I'm sure I have.
Of like their life, of something that they have, or, okay.
I don't think here's the thing. I think I'm a little too old now to be jealous of my friends. I'm extremely happy about their successes, their relationships, and where they are in life. There's no jealousy in terms of this person's doing better than me, or, this person's ahead of me in this aspect. There's none of that, because I think, hopefully, the friend group that you have now and the people that you're surrounded with are people that are truly your friends, and people who are truly your friends. You should celebrate their successes and not be jealous of them, right? I think if you still are, I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's like, it is a little bit like, okay, we're adults now. Like, we have to manage our own feelings. And like, I think jealousy is a very internal feeling.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, man, you gotta figure that yourself. Like, there's nothing I can do unless I change.
I think the worst type of friendship is if I know that, let's say you're jealous of me and I'm trying to hide my success so that you don't become jealous. I think that's kind of like the worst kind of relationship on both ends. Because I should be able to share my successes and my happiness and my wins with you.
Yeah.
And because you're my friend and I want you to be able to be happy and celebrate with me.
Yeah.
I think if you have a friend that you're like, oh, I really shouldn't bring this up because I don't think that this person will be happy for me, there's something wrong. There's something really wrong with that friendship.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh. I feel like that's a really important topic of like friendship. Just in general, like, should your friends be that support for you? Because like, what do you do when they're not? When they're the ones being like, I'm just...
We can have an entire topic about that, because I have experienced that, where I think that I wanted to share something, that in my mind was really, really exciting for me at the moment. And this person was just such a negative Nancy. Mm-hmm. Right? Everything that I say would be countered by kind of a comment that just didn't really sit well with me, or, questioned, how I got there, things of that sort. And I had to cut that person out of my life.
Okay, so that's a really good lead into the next question I had, I guess. What do you do when your friends are jealous of you? So how does that impact the friendship? And then what do you do about it?
I think that if I had a friend that was jealous of me, that's really weird. I just find that so weird. I think we're all in different stages of our lives and doing great things separately.
Yeah. But okay, maybe it's not full out jealousy. It's micro jealousy. And I feel like that, we already established, that still exists in adult friendships, right?
But what would they be jealous about?
They were your best friend 10 years ago, but now you've kind of grown apart, and now you're calling other people best friends. And how do you deal with that?
How would I deal with it? Oh my gosh. Knowing me, I just shut off.
Or your friend that you were saying, every time you shared a success, they kind of just brought you down. How do you deal with that? Do you get mad at them? I
don't think I would never get mad, because I'm not that kind of person to get mad. But I think it has to be pretty, like, a pretty repetitive thing where I bring something up and they shoot me down, and then I try another angle and they shoot me down, and it's more like I feel like there was a cloud on top of me. And it wasn't just about celebrating my successes that, like, you know, brings out the worst in that person, but it was just constant, like, she hated her life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And she hated everything, you know, her job, her relationship with her parents, and stuff like that. And everything about it was negative. So it wasn't just that part. I don't think necessarily that she was jealous of me. But, like, it wasn't just a jealousy issue. I think there was an entire list of issues that this person had that I had to cut them off.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I think most of my friends that I have right now, that I surround myself with, are pretty supportive, encouraging. And
even of the friends that you hang out with?
Right now? Yeah, I don't think
they're not jealous at all.
I don't think that they would be like, I would think I would be crazy. Like, I don't know what kind of human being I would be like, my friends are so jealous of me. I don't think that. Right? I don't think that there's anything to be jealous about, number one, and I definitely don't think that they feel this way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're just different people. I don't think that they would want the life that I have. Yeah. Or the partner that I was with, or the career that I have. Right? I think everyone that's around me has their own things that they're really, really happy about. Mm-hmm. And I'm really happy for them. And hopefully I think they're happy for me too.
I think when that happens in a friend group, or when somebody expresses jealousy, or like, oh, you have it all together, like, it really impacts a relationship when there's that dynamic, because it's not that all around supportive mentality anymore. And I think it's like really, like, for example, if somebody in your friend group is single and you're dating and they're feeling really alone, mm-hmm. I think it's a very fair statement that they say that, but it's also really unfair for them to say that, because then it really impacts your relationship, because what can you do about that? Like, you mean that
it would be really hard for someone else to tell me that they were jealous of me?
Yeah. I think that I agree. That puts pressure on you. Like, now we're comparing each other. And that's
I'm sorry, I just like literally laughed a little bit because I think that's so weird. I was laughing at the fact that if someone came up to me and said that they were jealous of me, I would maybe laugh a little.
Okay, they're not going to say I'm jealous of you like that.
Like, ew, why would you? I'm not great.
It's not going to be like, I'm jealous of you, but like...
Okay, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
How would that translate if it wasn't just, I am jealous of you? Like, what are those little hints that you might get?
I think it's like some actions or like personalities that might come out where it's like, maybe like off the hand comments, right? Like, oh, well, you're always with your boyfriend, or... oh, well, you have it all together, so you wouldn't understand.
Right. And my response to that would be like, get your shit together. Well, because I feel like people who are jealous of other people's lives are generally, I think, are unhappy with their own.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? But that's your friend who's unhappy with their own life. You can't tell them to get their shit together.
Like I said in the previous episode, I'm a solution-based person who's really logical. So to me, if you're unhappy with your life, you should take action to solve that, right? So I would tell you to get your shit together. I'd be like, what parts are you unhappy with? Let's make a list.
Okay.
How do we fix that? What are the quick fixes and what are the long-term things that you have to work with? That's how logical I am. So,
okay, well, if we were to dial that back and be more compassionate.
Okay. But you have to tell me I have to be compassionate. You have to be like, hey, I'm really bad at this.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Wait, let's dial it back. Help me dial it back.
I don't know either. I'm also not good at this.
Okay, we need tips, guys. We need tips on how to be a little bit more compassionate because we don't know how.
You know what? Let's take a quick break and see what Basic Bro has to say about.
Okay, let's see.
Bro time. Growing up, I was jealous of everything because I didn't have the nicest toys, the nicest clothes. My haircuts were terrible. At school, my lunches were terrible. I was jealous of everything and everyone. But, you grow and you mature and you start kind of finding yourself a little more as you go through that maturation process, and you start feeling more secure in your own skin and what you have in your journey in life. But honestly, it's tough because the things that people are jealous of as you kind of enter adulthood is more substantial, right? Because you start looking at careers and relationships and, people starting families. And a lot of people almost treat it like a race and feel like they're lagging behind. And it's tough when you start comparing your own situation to other people, because that sucks the joy out of your own situation.
I think that's a really good point. Thank you, Basic Bro. That was a really well put statement.
Wonder what terrible lunches he had.
Yeah.
That made him so jealous of everyone else.
But I think he raised a really good point about the race, right? When you see everybody having babies and you're still single, you're still dating, you're still whatever. For me, I guess, I feel like I'm where I need to be for long term. But there's people who are like, I'm going to be director next year. I'm managing a team of 20 people. I'm making $200K.
Yeah.
Why am I not there yet? And you're kind of like, oh my gosh, like, why am I not doing that? So I guess there's definitely those aspects of jealousy that play in. We have downplayed like the feelings a lot, I think.
Yeah. No, kind of just adding to his comments, I definitely like also agree with kind of the race and the pace, but I will agree with him saying that you just have to find your own.
Yeah.
Right? You have to find your own cadence, your own pace, and be okay with where you're at. Because once you start comparing, your friends and, what your cousin is doing and how your brother is doing, then all those things kind of add up to the pressure of like, why am I not there? Right? Yeah. But everyone has their own journey, right? And I think in order for us to remove those feelings of jealousy, I think you have to just accept the fact that, this is my life. I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to take it one step at a time, and I'm not going to compare myself to anyone else. I think that's when you kind of break those emotions down and be like, you know what? I'm not jealous. I'm actually so happy for you. I'm going to continue my own journey.
Yeah, I think that's like a really lovely way of approaching life. I feel like it's hard to get there all the time.
For sure.
I think I have so much FOMO in my life where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want that too. I want a house, like a big house with like all the prettiest things, and like, why can't I have that? I want fancy vacations. I want blah, 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 blah. And I think that's so easy, but you're right. Like, a huge part of it is just being comfortable with, or not comfortable, but like content with what you have.
Yeah.
And like, that's a huge part of just growing up in general, I guess.
Well, we can cheers to that then.
Cheers to
not being jealous.
Not being jealous and being happy with your life.
Yeah, just
and growing
grateful.
Better, brighter. Okay, I'm going to stop.
Just being grateful. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for listening to the Let's Talk Basic podcast. For more exclusive content, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk Basic.